In this video, we will define some functions to understand terms like return, argument, parameter, function declaration, function call, etc. in a better way. Let's just see how to read the requirement. So here it says the function needs an input of A and B, and the type of data for A and B is number, and the output will be A plus B. Similarly, here it says the input is name, that is a string data type, and console log the name. There is no output for this function. For rest, we'll see it later on. So to create this function, the first thing we need to do is to use the function keyword followed by the name of the function. So we'll call this function addNumbers. The function accepts two parameters, A and B. And remember, parameters are the placeholder. When we call this function, we'll pass real values, and those values like 12 and 23 are arguments, but A and B are parameters. And here we have to put the output, and to output from the function we use return keyword. On the right hand side of return we'll write A plus B. So this function accepts two number values and returns the sum of those two values. Similarly, I can call this function with two different arguments like 100 and 25. Similarly, we'll go ahead and create this function. So this function accepts a name and logs the name. So I'll call this function say hello that accepts a parameter called name, and it just need to do is to console.log name. Now, if we want to call this function, we'll pass arguments from here, and the value of that can be John. And if we want to call it again, we can call it with a new value, that is Arya. Similarly, let's go ahead and define another function. So to create a function, we'll use function keyword, and the function name should be square, which accepts a number called num, and it needs to return num multiplied by num. So here we can execute the function using the name of the function, that is square, followed by parentheses. And here we will pass the value. The value can be 20, and we can call it again with a new value, that is 12. Similarly, we'll go ahead and complete this function. And to create a function, we'll use keyword function followed by the name of the function getFullName. The function accepts two parameters, first name and last name. And to give the output, we use the keyword return. So here to create full name, we'll say $ first name, and we'll give a space and $ last name. We can call this function getFullName with two different values, that is John, Snow, and the next value can be Brad Pitt. Whenever you define a function, this is called function declaration. So this is a function declaration, this is a function declaration, and this is a function declaration. Whenever you use the name of the function followed by parentheses like this is called function execution or function call, that you can see it here and here. When you're calling the function, you're passing the real values, and those values are called arguments. And to store those arguments, we use parameters. And we define parameters when we are defining the function. So the difference between argument and parameter is arguments are passed when you're calling a function. Parameter is defined when you're defining the function. Arguments are the real value and parameter are the placeholder. So here addNumbers has return statement, but say hello doesn't have a return statement. So let's see the difference between them. So here we can say addNumbers, and when we pass two value like 12 and 12, you'll see because this function has a return statement, it returns a value 24 with the arrow pointing outside. Now look at another function, say hello. Say hello doesn't have any return statement. So let's see if we pass a value here rn and press enter. So we'll see it logs the value rn but returns undefined. And that is the main difference between using a return statement inside a function and not using a return statement. When you use return statement, you'll see arrow pointing outside, and when arrow is pointing outside, you can store it inside any variable. Like I can say sum is equal to this. So whatever will be returned from here will be stored inside the variable sum. So now if we look at the value of sum, it will be 24. But if we do the same thing with let message, we'll see the message printed here is RN and the value of message is undefined. Is because the rule says when you're calling a function, it always returns a value. If the function doesn't contain any return statement, it will always return undefined like this. But if the function contains return statement, it will return the value on the right hand side of that. Something like 24. So now after understanding the function, let's try to visualize it in a proper way. So you should always think of function to be something like a coffee maker machine. So a coffee maker machine always needs milk, sugar and coffee beans to create a cup of coffee. So arguments here to the function coffee maker is milk, sugar and coffee beans. And the return or the output from that coffee maker is a cup of cappuccino or coffee. So in this way, we learned about terms like argument, parameter, return statement, function definition, function call, and when a function doesn't contain any return statement, it always returns undefined like it does here.